Plant-Based Foodies. I'm Steve. You've already met Christy. She posted a video, a great recipe on plant-based ground beef. I'm here today to give you another nice little tool for your toolbox, another recipe, a go-to recipe that we use a lot. Who doesn't like cheese, right? If you're here at our site, you may be one of those people who are looking for health reasons at some plant-based recipes. You're concerned with the intramyocellular fat. You're concerned with stopping up those insulin receptors and creating insulin resistance. And that's caused largely, many times, by animal fats and things like that. And hey, that's why we're here. That's why we're plant-based. But you don't have to sacrifice flavor. We've got a great cheese recipe for you that's 100% plant-based, oil-free, and I'm going to make it for you right here before your very eyes. And you too can make it. I've got all the ingredients out here. I'm starting out with a cup of oats, a cup of rolled oats right here in the old Vita mixer. What's it called? A NutriBullet. In the NutriBullet cup. And so we've got a cup of oats. We want to put in a half a cup of cornstarch. I'm sorry, an eighth a cup of cornstarch. It's my own recipe, and I'm having trouble reading it here. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. Let's put all the dry ingredients in here first. We've got in here a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. We've got a half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Now, as you're watching this video, I'm going to put the recipe and the ingredients kind of one at a time as I mention them on the bottom of the video, so just check that out. And you can go back, rewind, look at it as many times as you need to get the recipe. Now, I like to put a little bit of liquid smoke in here, and we've got an eighth a teaspoon. It doesn't take much liquid smoke. We already have smoked paprika in here. As a matter of fact, let me get some of that out. It kind of stayed in the bowl. And for the liquids, I like to put a cup of vegetable stock, low sodium, a cup of water. Go ahead and put that in there. Spilled some of it on the cutting board there. And a half a jar of roasted red tomatoes. We love them. We use them in a lot of recipes. Roasted red peppers. Christy's off to the side here and just keeping me in line. It's roasted red peppers. We use them in a lot of recipes. We're going to go ahead and put that in there with the liquid, half a jar. Now, what's going to happen here with that nutritional yeast and the oats and the cornstarch, that's going to thicken your sauce. And it's going to be fantastic. Anybody ever had the nachos? You go to a ball game or something like that, and you've got nachos, that great canned cheese that they have. And this is very similar to that. The great thing about this is that you can tweak this. You can put your own spices and seasoning in there. You can actually add some cayenne. Now, I don't do that when I'm making it for Christy and I. She doesn't like hot stuff except for me. I usually get a bowl and set it aside, and then I tweak mine with some jalapeno peppers and some cayenne and things like that. So that's very easy to do after the fact. So let's get this going. I'm going to make this, and we're probably going to take this and add it to some queso with some roasted red peppers and some fire roasted tomatoes to make good queso. Or something like that for dipping. So we're going to do some of that. Now let's put this on the NutriBullet. Now we want to go for 5 minutes. We're going to let this go for 5 minutes. As it heats up in here, it's going to start to thicken, and it's going to make our thick sauce. Now something that's going to happen here, you can already hear the sound of the motor of the blender. It's starting to change. And you'll see that the cheese sauce begins to separate and settle down. That means it's not as loose anymore. It's tightening up in the blender. Now we won't let it go much longer. We'll go ahead and get it out. That cornstarch is heated up in there and started to activate that and thicken it. Just a little bit more. We've probably got about 30 seconds to go. Now you can hear this blender really start to change here. It's time to turn it off. That cheese has really thickened up. Because the motor sits on the bottom of this, I'm just going to let everything drain down out of the blades back into the cup before I open it up. I got some tortillas here that we're going to use with this queso. We've got some ground beef, plant-based ground beef that Christy made in another video, and she then turned it into taco meat. It's got taco seasonings, things like smoked paprika, cumin, black pepper, chili powder, things like that, onion powder that give it a real taco flavor, taco meat flavor. We're going to put some of that in here, in this queso, and also, like I said, some fire roasted tomatoes that are kind of coarsely cut there. You can see the nice specks, dark specks in there. They've been roasted. So let's pour this out and see what this cheese sauce looks like. All right. It's nice and thick. Let's look at this as it pours out of that. See that? That's what you want right there. Nice thick sauce. And we're going to kind of stir in these tomatoes. And we're going to stir in this taco meat. Let's put some taco meat in there first. You can put as much as you want. Depends on how meaty you want it. Now the texture of this plant-based ground beef, it's just like ground beef. With the feel as you eat it, and now because it has those seasonings and spices in it, it tastes just like it. I mean, you can't tell it apart. Definitely better than Taco Bell. Now, we're going to put those tomatoes in there. Now, this is a half a can. I'm going to go ahead and put the half a can in there. The recipe that we made this cheese with, it'll take about a half a can of tomatoes and probably a half a pound of ground beef. Let's mix it up. As you can see, it's very meaty, very tomatoey. It's the way I like queso. Now, you make this to your taste. I mean, you go ahead and put some, chop up some green peppers, red peppers, whatever you want to do. If you like big chunks of onion and things like that in there, go ahead and do that. But this queso looks very, very good. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. Now, I didn't put a garlic in the original first part of the recipe. I'm going to do that. There's garlic seasoning in the meat. We've increased the volume when we put the tomatoes and the meat in there. So I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt because we increased the volume of what we've got here. So I've got about a half a teaspoon of each. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle that over there and then stir it in. It should make it just about right. Now, that is amazing looking. And I'm going to take a piece of this tortilla. And the reason I get tortillas like this, you can get these tortillas, and if you look at we try to eat whole foods, okay? The least processing, the better. We like to process it ourselves. And when you look at the ingredients on these tortillas, if you get the right ones, it's got like, 2 or 3 ingredients. It's got corn, it's got some water, and maybe a little bit of corn meal, something like that. But it's very very few ingredients, and that's the fewer the better. So let's see what this tastes like. That is amazing. And my portion is going to be even better. And I set that over to the side and have some jalapenos, maybe a little cayenne pepper and things like that. But that's what's great about it. You make it in a bulk, then you can divide it up. Each person can add their own little twist to it. It's really great. So I'm glad you could tune in. I hope you like this recipe. There's so many things you can do with this cheese sauce. We put it on chili. I mean, we even put it on pizza, things like that. So, mac and cheese and all that kind of stuff. Potatoes. Christy's off camera and she's reminding me of some of the things we use it for. Roast some potatoes. Okay, cut them up, roast them in the oven, sprinkle them with a little bit of seasoned salt. Put some of that cheese over there and maybe some of that taco meat, ground beef substitute, whatever to your taste. But it's fantastic. Hope you are able to use this, and look, be healthy. God bless you.